Hey everybody, welcome back to Sim Race's Journey. In this video, we thought we were going to be talking about our first multiplayer race. And we kind of are. But it didn't work out according to plan. We did enter a multiplayer race. We were there, we ran some practice and a bit of qualifying, and then the feared tech gremlins stepped in. But first, I'm going to give you just a brief look of what we were hoping to show you. Although we'll be doing it as an AI as opposed to actual multiplayer. So I'll just give you maybe a 30-second or a 1-minute taste of that. Taste of Imola, as promised. Just like that. So that's what we hope to show you was a real race with multiple players, multiplayer, not just a brief, little bit of AI racing, but pretty much the whole race with the boring parts edited out. But what actually happened? We found that logging in was pretty easy. I wasn't able to use my custom livery. Got dumped during practice. That was kind of bizarre. Just like all of a sudden I was there, then I wasn't. Got back on, did some more practice. Was slow and sloppy. Field kept growing. 7, 9, 12, 14, 16, 19. There were 19 other cars. I was counting on 5 or 6 or 7. Qualifying came. Decided to sit it out. Nope. Tried to qualify. Not a good idea. Didn't go well. Finally on the grid in a different car. I also wanted to talk just a little bit about some things that we found helpful in more of a tangible way. One of those was the Coach Dave's track maps. They're excellent. They're just super good. And the link will be below in the notes there. But they give you a overall picture of the track, and then they take each turn and do a 1-page per turn breakdown of the track. Super helpful, super good for getting breaking points down. You can make little notes as to the heartbeat past the 100 marker, things like that. So I found those to be super helpful. I also have designed something called the ACC setup form, which I use to record. Anytime I change my setup, I give it a new name and record all the various settings through there and tuck that away so I've got something to go back to. And I do them by track, I do them by purpose, qualifying or racing. In my case, because I'm just learning this stuff, my quality and my race setups are generally pretty much the same. There's notes on there, things like that. And then there's also just an ACC form that I designed to keep track of your racing itself, where you can take some notes about it, where you qualified, what worked well, what didn't work well, what problems you ran into. Did you overestimate on fuel? Did you underestimate on fuel? Things like that. So those are some of the things that we physically use to make this go a little bit smoother. And we'll put, like I say, the links for the Coach Dave stuff below. And we hope to have a website up pretty soon where you can download or purchase the download for the ACC setup form and the ACC track form. But yeah, found these things to be super helpful. So to sort of summarize the whole adventure, practice before the race, it went well. I was consistent. After I'd made some adjustments to the car and the aero, I was running consistently 150s, 149.5s, around in there. I came to find out that really isn't as fast as I thought it was, but at least I was consistent. I could hit those regularly. My braking points were consistent. My turn-in points, my apexes, I had a reasonable degree of consistency, at least as consistent as I ever get. Then, the actual practice. I was anything but consistent. I was all over the place. I was sloppy. Just things weren't going well at all. I think it was nerves. I was sort of nervous and anxious heading into the race. It's the first multiplayer I didn't want to screw up. That didn't turn out well. But I was sloppy and inconsistent in practice. And like I say, qualifying came. That turned out to be a mess. Things that I've never done in playing against AI, racing against AI, rejoining at the wrong time, getting in the way of other cars. That's all I seemed to be doing when I was playing the multiplayer version. But lessons learned, I guess. I was pretty bummed after this whole thing. I wasn't mad, wasn't angry. I've gotten old enough to be over that kind of stuff. But I was kind of bummed that it didn't go well, that it just didn't, I was fine with finishing last. I figured that, first time out, that'll happen. But we did learn a bunch of stuff. Learned to tweak my before race setup more, as opposed to just getting into something that you're sort of used to and comfortable with, to tweak it. I gained 4 seconds a lap by tweaking the aero on the Aston Martin. 4 seconds a lap, just like that. Change the aero, go out, get 4 seconds a lap. It was pretty cool. So I learned to be more concerned and more prone to trying a little bit variations on the setup before I actually go and do a multiplayer. Nerves. I was excited and anxious before I'd gone on there, but man, I'll tell you what, once I got on the track, it was bad. I'd see a car in my mirrors coming up and I would just freeze. It's embarrassingly bad. But again, first time out, I'm willing to learn from that. 19 cars came as a shock to me. Like I say, I was expecting maybe 8, 9. I'd be happy to be the 10th slot on the grid. That'd work for me. But yeah, nerves were an issue. There's no doubt about that. I paid no attention to the track status. I always do my practicing and AI racing on optimum track. We were running on a fast track. I gave it no thought, didn't pay any attention to it, but that's what we were running on. And I think that made a significant difference, or at least a definite difference of sorts. I learned to be very conscientious about rejoining after you spin during quali. I spun, kind of wanted to hurry up and get back on, and pulled right out from the side of the track right in front of somebody and wrecked their lap for them. So learned a lesson on that, had a conversation with the guy afterwards. Went well. He put it down. He said, let this be a lesson learned. So that is a lesson learned. I took the Bentley on track after let me just back up and explain a little. So we go on the grid. We're on the grid. We're ready to go. And all of a sudden, as the grid pops up, I'm not in an Aston Martin anymore. I'm in a Bentley. I've never driven a Bentley. So there I am in the Bentley, and we're lined up in the grid, and all of a sudden, I'm transferred into the pit lane, and my controls are locked for a minute and a half. No idea why. I followed up with the race organizers afterwards. they said, nah, that doesn't make any sense to us at all. Have no idea what happened. But I thought, what the heck, I'm here. I'll take the Bentley out for a run, see how it goes. It was it was horrific. It was like driving. My dad used to have Lincolns back in the day, and it was like driving in an old Lincoln. I mean, I always sort of wondered how a Bentley would be a race car, and I still wonder that. Although I know they're blazingly fast at certain tracks, and yeah. But I mean, that's that was an experience unto itself. But all things considered, I learned quite a bit. Learned to be more attentive to setup. Learned to be more attentive to track settings or track conditions. I learned to practice more. Learned to run less practice and more AI races on the track that we'll be going to. Learn to tweak the AI up higher than I ordinarily would. Usually I try and run AI pretty much line on line with myself, so I can be in the mix. But in an AI environment, you kind of want to be in the mix. In a multiplayer environment, you're going to be where you are. And I realized at Imola, that's probably going to be very far down the grid. So I will crank the AI up as we get ready for the next multiplayer event, and we'll come back with a little bit more info on that. We raced through a league put together by Parc Ferme. Great bunch, very helpful. Truly a noob here. These guys were super helpful, getting me pointed in the right direction. They were helpful after the race when I kind of had to go confess my racing sins and apologize. Everyone was really understanding, really encouraging. So I'd highly recommend Parc Ferme. Great bunch of people, very helpful. So it was a really cool thing. So that was our first adventure with multiplayer racing. Just wanted to give you a taste of it, let you know how it went. We said we were going to be there. We were there. It didn't go according to plan. That's okay. We had some weird technical glitches. So be it. Learned a lot along the way. Yep, learned a lot along the way. We're going to be doing another multiplayer on November 4th, Thursday, at Hungaroring. I think that's how you pronounce it. Hungaroring. It's kind of a mouthful. And hopefully that one will go better. We'll take what we learned here at Imola, take it there with us. We're going to be trying some different setups. I usually have worked off of a base setup that I have and just tweaked it a little bit for each track. I bought a set of setups. We'll see how they work out there, and we'll let you know how that goes. And we will also be putting together, hopefully, an actual, honest-to-goodness race, multiplayer race for y'all to see this time. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, good learning experience, and I enjoyed it, even if I was sort of a mess. But that's part of the learning process, I guess. As always, links to everything is below. We will have the Coach Dave track maps linked in there as well. I think they're very, very useful. And anything else that we can. All our streaming gear and all our sim racing gear is linked in there. If it's a link we put in there, it's a product that we know, we believe in, we trust, and we recommend to you all. And hopefully you're getting something out of this. If you are, please like and subscribe down below, and we'll see you next time on Sim Racer's Journey.